Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back here at Silver Tears Tarot, and a warm welcome to anyone who is joining us for the first time. So, today we are going to do a question that has come from several viewers in the last couple of days. These viewers were each in separation with their person, so communication hasn't really been an option. And we know from the other readings, there are a lot of ways to be in separation. So, we're going to take a look at how your person is feeling about things, how they're feeling about you, how they're feeling about the situation, kind of what's going on in the background. So we know there's been a lot going on in their world, a lot going on in their minds. We've seen that in some of the personal readings and even in these collective readings here on YouTube as well. So we're going to just check to see how it's impacting things with you, how they're feeling about you. And like I said, how they're feeling about things overall. Um, these are general readings. They're for all signs and timeless. So they'll show up for you whenever it's right for you to get the messages. It's not going to resonate with everybody, but if it does, please do hit the like button, hit the share and subscribe. And if you really find that it's resonating a lot, just know that there is a whole collective here that we've been coming together doing some readings, and there have been some very strong patterns in these readings. So there may be some messages in previous readings that you would also want to get into as well. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this. We're going to first take a look at the main idea. And so this is going to kind of be the main idea for this reading. So the reading is wrapped around this. What is the main idea for this reading? And we have the Three of Wands. Okay, so it's that sense of being ready. With the Three of Wands, things have already been set into motion. And sometimes in some decks you see like they're waiting for their ships to come in. And you'll see that. There's a person standing there waiting for their ship to come in because the ship has already left the other place. And now everything is set in motion. They're just kind of letting it move forward. So this is being ready, but there's also a transformation aspect to this. So I'll be interested to see what comes out of this. And so this is the Star Tarot that I'm reading with, and I'm going to clarify with the Wheel of Fortune Tarot here in a moment. Always like to introduce the decks. But yeah, that main energy is the Three of Wands, so that feeling of being ready. Let's take a look at the energetic backdrop. So this is going to be kind of the energy in which you guys are operating. It's that overarching energy. What's in the background? Ooh, somebody knows what they want. So we've got the Seven of Cups, but it's in the reverse. If you look at it in the upright, it's a card of a lot of options, maybe some confusion about some of those options. I'm not sure which direction I need to go. There's a lot of things to consider here. Maybe even a little bit of fog in around it. But in the upright, or I'm sorry, in the reverse, it's a little different. The sense that I'm getting from this is knowing what you want. Both of you having more of an idea of what it is you want going forward. So let's take a look at how they're feeling about you. Okay. How they're feeling about you. And we're also going to take a look at how they're feeling about the relationship. But first it's about you. So, wow, the Ten of Cups. Okay, so the Ten of Cups is a beautiful, beautiful energy. It looks like everything is just it's perfect. It's what everybody would wish for. The tricky bit is it's a little too perfect. That's kind of the sense of the Ten of Cups. It's not always got that sense of being real or realistic, so it can be a little bit tough. They aren't sure whether or not this is real, or if it's real enough that they can hang their hat on it. I think that's the issue here. They're not sure if it truly if it just goes away like a mirage when they get closer. So yeah, let's take a closer look at this one here in a moment when we go to clarify. I'll be very interested to see that. But for now, what it looks like is with regard to you, they're feeling like maybe it's a little bit, you might be a little bit too good to be true. So let's check to see then how they're feeling about the relationship overall. This is going to be how they're feeling about the relationship. And we know that with you that they're feeling like things are a little too good to be true. We've got two cards that wanted to come out here. Usually, it's a little bit less complicated than this. I usually just kind of go for the top card that comes out, but there it was very clear that we had two that wanted to come out. So when we look at the relationship itself, we've got the Eight of Swords in the upright and the Seven of Swords in the reverse. So let's break that down a little bit. The Eight of Swords is a card of it's a card of like overthinking and almost self-imprisonment. So they've got themselves caught up in some overthinking and really not sure how to get themselves past that. But there is a level of self-trust. That there's something about this that they feel like they do know. So whereas there's a ton of overthinking when they get in and say, wow, this situation is really kind of, it's too good to be true. It's throwing me off my game a little bit. I can't have expectations like this. On the other hand, this is the side of them that says, no, these expectations are actually okay. This is going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But the Eight of Swords is them overthinking the situation because it really kind of feels like, again, it's too good to be true. So this overall relationship kind of has thrown them a couple of red flags because of how deeply bonded they feel to you and how much it's different from what they've experienced in the past. A lot of times they have that Seven of Cups in the upright. As far as their energetic backdrop, they don't always know exactly what they want. But here they realize it's so clear they can't really believe it. So we'll take a look then at these hidden energies. And this is where I like to put in hidden energies. And we're going to look at kind of what you can't see from where you're standing. So maybe you'd be able to see it if you were coming from a different angle, but not from where you're currently standing. And again, we had two cards that wanted to come out. So we have the Eight of Cups in reverse and the Fool in reverse. So I'm going to turn both of these upright so you can get a better look at them. The Eight of Cups is about going for what you truly want. You know, it's sometimes it's a card of walking away from, but in this deck and the way that it feels, it's really kind of more going toward that opportunity and that thing that you love, that the place that you are destined to go. And in the reverse here, it's a matter of not necessarily making it in that direction. It's like, you know, there's a sense of knowing where it is that you want to go. There's a sense of having that, even on their side, having that sense of self-trust and understanding, no, this really does seem like it. But there's still this feeling of meandering and not really going in the direction that's going to be helpful. The Fool card then similarly it's about jumping into something new. It's about going in a new direction. In the reverse here, it's not doing that. So we, in both cases, instead of going toward the gold, instead of going toward what it is, that happiness, that sun, that Nine of Cups, that thing. So the Eight of Cups, you're like actively going for that ninth cup, you know. In the reverse here, we have sort of this aimless wandering, so not really going the direction that you want to go, as well as not being willing or ready to jump into something new. There is this sense, and this does not feel to me like it is unique to you. It's almost got the sense of depression or something that dysthymia just sort of makes you feel like you can't move too much right now, not very high energy, not wanting to go in a direction that means very much. It's a low energy sort of thing. They could have pulled out the Eight of Wands in reverse, and I would have gotten kind of a similar feeling to what I think I'm getting here. But this is a little bit more global and broad. It's not going for the things that you love, but it's also just kind of not going for things at all. So look for that energy in the hidden energy. So it may not be pervasive throughout your entire personality. It may just be something that crops up once in a while. Watch where it crops up and whether you'll maybe start to see some patterns in that. But we'll clarify here in a minute to get a little bit better of an idea of what's really going on with that energy and, of course, all the rest of it. But first, let's see where the energy wants to take you next. So right now, you're in that Seven of Cups in reverse energy, but where are you going? What is the energy that you guys will be adding your free will to in the not too distant future? So we've got the Judgment card. It has come out in the reverse. So the Judgment card You have to judge, you have to pass judgment in order to get to the world, which is the last card of the major arcana of the tarot. It starts with the Fool, it ends with card number 21, the world, and number 20 is judgment. So you would have to pass judgment in order to get to that place. But there is something here that is going to put you back to the beginning in a way. So there's something that doesn't pass judgment. It's not I don't think it's supposed to. I get the sense that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. But you just be aware there's something here that doesn't work, doesn't pass judgment, doesn't pass muster. There's something that's going to have to be changed. And let's that's all I want to say about that one for right now, but that's the energy that it's taking you in, and we'll go ahead and clarify momentarily and see kind of what that is. I can't wait to get to this one, but we're going to start here with the Three of Wands. So clarifying with the Three of Wands, first thing that comes out is the Four of Cups. And that's an impressed Four of Cups because it's in the reverse. Here I've got a couple of cards that I accidentally turned over as I was trying to put things back in the deck. All right, there we go. So we've got the Three of Wands. And it's been clarified by the Four of Cups in reverse, the Star, and the Fool both in reverse. This is a complex feeling. So there's this feeling of being ready, this feeling of having set things into motion. This Four of Cups in the upright is kind of a not very excited. It's disappointment, it's rejection, it's not being very impressed. In the reverse here, though, it shows up as being rather impressed. So there's somewhere to go and you're like ready for it. Everything looks really fantastic, but there's a delay. So, the Star card in the reverse is telling us that there is a deep divine bond. There is definitely this, if you want to use the term soulmate, and when you guys are coming together and you're teaching each other things, it's often a soulmate sort of situation. And the soulmate term can be used fairly broadly. There are different types of soulmates. You can have more than one. And you will, in fact, have more than one across the course of your life. You have a situation here where you've got a very special type of soulmate, a very special type of divine situation here, implied by the Star card, whether it's in the reverse or not. But the issue that we have here is the timing. So you'll often hear divine timing when the star comes out in the Star card comes out in the reverse, and that's true. But what it really means for us here is a delay. Then we also have the Fool card that has come out in the reverse yet again. So it's that feeling of not really, not jumping into something new. It's this feeling up here of I'm ready, but it's a holding pattern. I'm ready. I'm completely ready to go. There's a delay. I'm in a holding pattern. That's kind of what I'm getting out of the main idea right here. So, as you guys are, a lot of you are in separation in your relationships. This is a holding pattern where you're feeling very ready to move forward. But maybe there's still this delay and it's not time to go just yet. So, let's take a look at this Seven of Cups in reverse. We've got a couple of them. Nope, we only want that card out of these. So we've got the Five of Swords that's come out in the reverse. And that's another one that turns pretty decisive when it goes to the reverse. So the Five of Swords is a card depicting a person who doesn't always make the best decisions about where to put their energy. So one of the things that I like to say about the Five of Swords is that it's not super efficient when it's in the upright. This is a card of you know, picking battles that are not necessarily worth it or pushing to win a battle beyond the point where it would be worthwhile to do so. But here you've got the energy of somebody who knows when to stop. And so here in the Nine of Swords in reverse, you've got energy of somebody that isn't going to spend a lot of time in anxiety about it. So your energetic backdrop is it's this knowing what you want, but knowing when to stop and not spending a lot of time in anxiety over it. So that's kind of, I don't want to say it's a harsh energetic backdrop, but it is sort of like a brisk or a brusque energetic background, I would say. So there's this sense of really, it's a very no nonsense kind of feeling, but also this Nine of Swords in the reverse tells me that there may be a little bit of denial that's happening there. So I do know what I want. That doesn't feel like denial, it feels very clear. The Five of Swords in reverse tells me this is not inefficient energy. I'm not jumping into battles that aren't worthwhile. I'm thinking things through. That's not necessarily a card of strategy, but it's implying to me at this time there may be a tendency towards strategy. And then we've got this Nine of Swords that's saying, hey, and I'm not going to spend a bunch of time being anxious about things. That's a pretty good energy to be in as long as you're not hiding anything from yourself. That's the tricky bit. So let's now look into this Ten of Cups, and this is how they feel about you. Oops. So we've got the Five of Pentacles that's come out. I was feeling that one. So they are. This is the Five of Pentacles is a card of being out in the cold. It's a card of, in this case, I feel a lot of betrayal coming off of it, a lot of abandonment, and there, this is a fear on their part that that's what's going to happen. So this concept of you is too good to be true. They can't believe you're going to stick around. There's like no way. They're going to make sure that that is something that they get to jet before you do. So that's kind of what's happening with this Five of Pentacles. Now the Hermit card tells us that they've made some attempts to do some thinking about you. So it isn't just that you came together, they realized you were too good to be true. They get triggered because there was this fear that they were going to feel pain again that they felt from their past. But there was also an attempt for them to go off and find some answers. You know, they went off into their thinking cave, and when they came back, they didn't necessarily have the answers that they were seeking. So sometimes when the Hermit card is in reverse, I look at it and say, oh, hey, they figured it out. They're out now. They're out of the thinking cave. Now they've got some answers, some new perspectives. And whereas there might have been some degree of that, the greater issue was they didn't have the answers that they were seeking when they went in there. So they came out and they still didn't feel like they were any closer to understanding whether this was going to be okay for them. And whether it was going to be okay is kind of a big deal when it comes to this person, especially in this relationship, because they've very much been triggered to remember those things that made them feel bad, the abandonment, the betrayal. Those things are very live in their mind when they're thinking about you, and that's where they go. As soon as they see this, it's too good to be true, they say, yeah, it's probably not. So that is part of how they're feeling about you. And it's interesting because they've made an attempt to look a little bit more closely, but I feel like it backfired. Like they went in and they found, whoa, I really do feel very strongly about this. Maybe it's not too good to be true. Then what? Then what do I do? And then they kind of cinched up and realized they couldn't handle the answer to that question. So out they came without all of the solutions that they were looking for. So looking at the relationship itself and their fears around the relationship, I guess this is supposed to be how they feel about it. And I definitely see some of their self-confidence here saying, I do know what I want. I do know what I'm looking at. But I also see that Eight of Swords energy there that has them kind of lost in their own thinking. The High Priestess tells us that there is some connection to their intuition, but there's also a lot of secrecy. This is a card that it has the potential to bring about a lot of secrecy, or to bring with it a lot of secrecy, and that is definitely what's happening here. But the good news is they are still getting connected up with that intuition, or they're feeling connected up with that intuition. And then we have the Ace of Wands, which is, this is if there's truly just a feeling about how they are with this relationship, this passionate beginning, the way that things were, especially at the beginning between you guys, I think they found irresistible. They just couldn't seem to walk away from it, even though there might have been an edge that would suggest to them, and I feel the edge here, that they would need to, or that they should consider it, or that there's something for them to be afraid of. And that, it was the beginnings of this triggering, but also that realization that things are just so amazing here. I just feel like I want to move forward in this situation. So the way they feel about the relationship, it's a little bit conflicted, because they absolutely feel a go toward it sort of energy, but they also feel a hold on, I'm not so sure about this. I need to keep my secrets. I trust myself, but I need to keep my secrets. And so it feels to me here like the fear is weighing out. Um, okay. Yeah, it feels like the fear is weighing out, and it's kind of it's a challenge because it puts them into a little bit of a holding pattern too, except that the difference between your holding pattern and their holding pattern is that they are not feeling like they're in a rush to get out of it. They don't feel like they need to move to that next spot. They can basically wait you out. They're sitting here feeling like they're not really sure what they need to do about something, and if nobody comes along and pushes them into having to do that. So now I'm looking for a Hierophant card out of here. But if you don't have that impetus, they may not feel inclined to move forward. But let's take a look at that hidden energy. And so this is what you wouldn't know because of the position that you're in, but maybe something that you could see if you had a slightly different perspective. So it's that sense of not necessarily moving toward the direction of your dreams, and feeling a little bit like you can't jump into anything at all. And again, I got the sense that was a little bit of an intermittent feeling. Not, it feels like you go back and forth between being very strong and not feeling very strong. And this is maybe part of what comes out when you're not feeling very strong. So we have a 10 of Pentacles, and that is, boy, that's that happy household. And here the thing is, I feel like you, again, know what it is that you want. You know what it is that you want and what you're after. But for some reason, there's this cloud, there's this sort of thing that kind of keeps you away from it. And then here we have the 9 of Cups in reverse. That's that wish fulfillment card, but the wish is not being fulfilled. And they're not being fulfilled because of this lack of impetus energy here. So there is definitely something to go toward, but there's a disconnect between the desire to go toward it and the ability to go toward it. And it's interesting. There's almost this air of a depression sort of feeling that happens. And I think, I don't know if I said that earlier. I meant to say that about these two cards together. But it's like that. And I wonder, again, it feels like it's cyclical, or it's not always that way. Sometimes there's a lot of confidence and strength, other times not so much. And this is in that hidden energy. It's that I just don't feel like I can go toward the thing that I want. So that's something to look into, and it definitely seems like it's on your energy, but it's something that is maybe, or it's in your energy, but it's something that's maybe also even shared between the two of you. So you may see this tendency in them as well. And one thing I'll go ahead and say, a lot of times you get into these YouTube readings, and as people are talking, they say, hey, the energy might be flip-flopped. So one of the reasons that you see the energy being flip-flopped is because when I go in and I pull the cards, I'm pulling the energy between the two of you. And so a lot of it is going to be shared energy. Some of it belongs to just one person or the other person, and it's very clear. But not always. A lot of times it's just, here's the energy that's between you. Here's the strongest pieces of it and the pieces that want to come out. And a lot of times I'm able to say, oh, it's a little bit more your direction, or a little bit more than theirs, a little bit more theirs. But keep in mind here, this one might be quite elusive, might be a little bit hidden from all parties involved, myself included. So I can see it a little bit here. But I feel this is the cloudiest part. Everything else here makes a lot more sense to me. So this is like a hidden energy that kind of has a tendency to want to stay hidden. The other thing is, if this 7 of Cups had been available, I feel like it would have come out in the upright down here. So almost that sense of cloudiness is the message. But it's also a not moving forward and not jumping into new things sort of message. So that's what's in the hidden energy for those who need to hear that message. That's something to think about, just the trajectory, and make sure that if you've got some situation that you're not addressing that you might be able to address, this is an indication you may be able to address it. But you'd have to do it in a different way. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to say that clearly. This could be a little bit of a challenge. But definitely something that you're going to want to dig into and see if you can catch this from a different angle. It's a desire to want to go towards something, but a feeling that you can't. So let's look at this Judgment card a little bit. So the Judgment card is in that position of where the energy is taking you next, but this is something not passing judgment. We've got one that jumped out. It's a single card, and it's the 6 of Wands. Okay, so the 6 of Wands is victory after a long battle. So this energy that you're moving into, something's not passing judgment, but there's still something very okay about it. And we also have the Lover's card. So maybe it's not passing judgment, like not making a turn because you've discovered that's not the direction that you're supposed to go. So stop now. This isn't passing judgment. We need to kind of start over. There is a sense that there will be success in that starting over. There's also this feeling, this is more than just a choice in love. When I see the Lover's card in this context of and this part of the reading, what I'm seeing here is also, here we have this divine timing up here, this thing that's kind of taking a long time, and it's difficult to tell how long it's going to be despite your readiness. Here is, things are getting a little bit closer. There's definitely that positive, that victorious feeling. There's also the sense that there is going to be a choice in love, but that it is a much deeper, more divine choice than either of you might be aware of. You might find the way that this card feels, that there is a lot of push from the universe to go in a direction. So that's something that I'd like to take a little bit closer of a look at when we go into the extended reading. There are actually a couple things I'd like to take a closer look at. I want to see a little bit how your person is feeling about you. So we definitely got the sense that they feel like your energy just struck them as being too good to be true. We definitely got the sense that they have some abandonment issues, betrayal issues, that they went off to try and maybe solve this and look into it a little bit more deeply, but they hit a wall and like bailed on the whole hermit experience and said, "Okay, I can't get through this." They hit a wall and they left. They're back in this sort of, I want this, but it's overthinking. So I'm curious to understand how it is that they truly feel about you, because I don't know that we got enough information on that. So I want to get a little bit more for you. Another place that I want us to look is really going to be in this energy of where you're headed. And it's going to be, I want to understand how this plays out, because you've got some things here that feel like they're a little bit in conflict, but I'm not at all sure that they are. So let's understand a little bit more about the direction where maybe you're headed. The other thing that I'd like to get into is this piece here. So this is kind of a complex piece. And what I'd like to see is, I'm going to ask that bridge question for you and say, you're in a certain energy now. You've got an energy that you'd like to be in. What is it going to take to get you to that place? And thinking in particular about where we're coming from here with this hidden energy. So that's going to be the place where we start. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this here and go off to the extended. The link to the extended is down below. And you should be able to click on that and get to my Vimeo page, and that should take you from there. But thank you so much for being here with me for this reading. If this one resonated with you, please do subscribe, hit the like button. I look forward to seeing you off in the extended reading, or if not, then in another reading off in the future.